make your graph for your photosynthesis lab. And I've opened Excel here so that I can use that to help you find your ET50 values and then plot your final graph. So what I have here is some data that I kind of just made up for a pretend photosynthesis lab. So I have my 4 trials, and I did light color. So I have a red light trial, blue light trial, purple light trial, and then my control. And here I have my time. Now you're going to notice that for my time that I put it in seconds. And the reason that I did that is because later on, when you're calculating your ET50 value, it's going to end up being really helpful and saving you some time in doing the conversion to make it in seconds to start out with. So I just have it in seconds, and this goes from 1 minute all the way to 20 minutes. All right. So the first thing you're going to do is make 4 separate graphs. And each graph is going to be time versus the number of leaf discs that were floating for that color of light. So this is exactly what you recorded when you're doing the lab. So you're just going to make 4 graphs on that. And I did that, and I have my 4 graphs here. There's 1 for my red light trial, 2 for my blue light trial, 3 for my control trial, and down here 1 for my purple light trial. All right, and each graph just has time in seconds on the x-axis and number of leaf discs floating on the y-axis. And you'll notice that even though this has 12 up here, you never had any of your trials with more than 10 leaf discs, so the top will always be nothing more than 10. So the first thing that we're going to need to do for each of our graphs is find the ET50 value. So I'm going to zoom in on my graphs to show you how that's done. So here's my red light trial, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to left click on one of my data points, and you can see that now they all have those little dots by them. They're highlighted. And I'm then going to right or double tap that point, and I'm going to go down to add trend line. All right, and I'm going to add a linear trend line, and I'm going to make sure that that trend line, I'm going to set the intercept to be 0. Okay, so it's starting at the origin. And when that's all taken care of, which it is right now, I'm just going to close out of here. Now I have my nice trend line right there. So I'm going to use this graph with this trend line to find the ET50 value, or the estimated time it took for 50% of the leaf discs to float. Now 50% of 10 leaf discs is 5. So I'm going to go over here first on my y-axis and find about where 5 would be, right here. And I'm going to draw and this doesn't have to be exact, but I'm going to draw a rough line straight over from 5 to where it intersects my trend line that I just made, right about there. And then I'm going to take it down to my x-axis and see about what time is that. So here I've got 400, here's 600 seconds, maybe right here, maybe that would be 500 seconds. So I'm going to say that my ET50 for my red light, so ET50 is going to be equal to 550 seconds. Perfect. So next I will go to my next trial, my blue light, do the same thing. I'm going to click on my data points, double tap, add trend line, go down, set intercept to 0. Perfect. Go over, find where 5 would be on my y-axis, draw it right over till it intersects my graph, draw it straight down, and maybe this is about, maybe here's 300, maybe this is my ET50 is about 350 seconds. Alright, next I'll actually do my purple leaf disc next. Click on it, double tap, add Trendline, go down to set intercept equal to 0, go on to my graph, find 5 on the y-axis, draw it over till it intersects my graph here, draw it straight down, and if this is 500, maybe that's 450. I'm rounding it to the nearest 50, honestly, so 450 might be my ET50 value for this. And then I got my control here. Now my control is going to be really weird because we're supposed to have gotten 0. Now there's some error for that, obviously, because there were leaf discs that floated. So I'm gonna just try, see what happens. Add Trendline. We're going to set our intercept equal to 0, and see we've already got some complicated. We can't even go to 5. We can't even go up to 5 leaf discs because no more than 2 ever floated. So what's that saying is it would take an excruciatingly long amount of time to figure out for 5 leaf discs to float. So I'm not even going to put an ET50 for my control. If you did have 10 leaf discs that end up floating, you will do the ET50 just like you had done before. So now I have my ET50 values. Alright, so now I need to go ahead and turn these ET50 values into 1 over our ET50, because that's what we're going to actually graph. So my red light, my 1 over ET50 value is just going to be 1 over 550. Going down for blue light, 1 over ET50 is just going to equal 1 over 350. And for my purple light, my 1 over ET50 is just going to equal 1 over 450. So now I'm ready to make my final graph. So I have it all set up here, my 4 light colors and 1 over ET50 values. So purple light is going to be my 1 divided by 450. For my blue light is going to be 1 divided by 350. And for my red light, it's going to be 1 over 550. 1 divided by 550. Like that. Alright? So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to kind of reorder these so that they're in some sort of order, so that the least is at the top and the most is at the bottom. So what I'll do is kind of remake my table over here, light color, and let's do blue first. Let's do purple next. Let's do red last. And then we'll do our 1 divided by ET50. And we'll do 1 over blue 350. 1 over 450. 1 over 550. And now I'm going to make my graph of this. So in Excel, here I'm just going to highlight that, insert, and I'm going to make my scatter plot here. Oh, I see what I did wrong. So I'm going to do my scatter plot here. What is going on? Let's see. Alright, so just troubleshooting, I kind of figured out what was wrong. So when you put in, on Excel at least, when you put in these values, you want to make sure that it's a decimal, so you need to put the equal sign first. So if you're going to fill in this as 1 over 350, you have to do equals 1 over 350, and then Excel will do the math for you. Forgot that little trick. So like I said, now we're going to insert our scatter plot. Here we are. And I have my 3 data points. I'm going to click on my data points, and I'm going to add a trend line. And we've got a linear trend line. And then we just want to make sure we put display equation on chart and display our square value. And so I'm going to just zoom in on that. Over. And what I see here is my equation. So I see the slope of the line that before the x, the minus 0.005. So that's going to be how the photosynthetic rate changes as you change the frequency of light. All right. More importantly, though, if you talk about in your conclusion, is this R square value. And remember, this is the measure of correlation between your two variables, your light color independent variable and ET50, your dependent variable. And the closer this is to 1, the stronger correlation, the more we can say statistically that those two things are related. And this is 0.98, so it's going to tell us that those two variables, those two things, the light color and the photosynthetic rate as measured by 1 over ET50, are extremely closely related, extremely tight relationship. If you have anything, because our methods were not that accurate, anything over 0.82 for yours, we'll say that those are high correlations, all right? And so then this is the only graph you need to include in your write-up. Just make sure that you have better title than this, have your X and Y axes have titles with units. I don't have them here just because I'm showing you. And just make sure that you have this R square value on there as well. And then you'll have everything that you need for the graph. So hope this is helpful, and please let me know if you're having some trouble and I can help with the data as well.